This module covers air conditioning. It begins with an overview, followed by controls and indicators, system description, and normal operation. We will start with the overview. The pneumatic sources for the left and right packs are the engines, the APU, or a pneumatic ground cart. The left and right packs provide conditioned air to a mixed manifold. The mixed manifold combines air from both packs for further distribution. The left pack provides conditioned air for the cockpit and mixed manifold. Conditioned air not required for the cockpit is combined in the mixed manifold with air from the right pack for distribution to the passenger cabin. A recirculation fan system is installed to reduce the air conditioning pack load and the engine bleed air demand. This air is collected, filtered, and recirculated back to the mixed manifold. A ground preconditioned air source may be connected directly to the mixed manifold for distribution throughout the airplane. Let's look at the controls and indicators for the air conditioning system. The controls and indicators for the air conditioning system are located on the overhead panel. Two ram door full open lights are located at the top of the pneumatic panel, one for each pack. The recirculation fan is controlled by a two-position switch, off and auto. Each pack is controlled by a three-position switch, off, auto, and high. The pack trip-off lights are also located on this panel. The temperature control panel is used to monitor and set cabin temperatures. The air mix valve position indicators and duct overheat lights are on this panel. Equipment cooling is provided by supply and exhaust fans. The two-position switch, normal or alternate, controls which fan operates. The off lights monitor airflow through the supply and exhaust ducts. We will now cover the air conditioning system description in more detail. The pack valves regulate and control the amount of bleed air to the packs. With the pack switches off, the pack valves are closed and there is no flow of air to the packs. With the pack switches in auto, the pack valves regulate a low flow of air to the packs under normal two-pack operation. During one-pack operation, with the pack switch in auto, the pack valve regulates to either high or low flow. In flight, with flaps up, the pack valve regulates to high flow. In flight, with flaps extended, the pack valve regulates to low flow. On the ground, the pack valve regulates to low flow. With the pack switches in high, the pack valves regulate a high flow of bleed air to the air conditioning packs. Answer B is correct. The left pack and the right pack switches are in auto. Under normal two-pack operation, each pack valve will regulate a low flow rate to each air conditioning pack. Answer C is correct. The pack valve regulates to high flow when in flight with the flaps up. Review the other conditions that affect the flow rate. Let's look at one of the air conditioning packs in greater detail. Hot bleed air enters from the pack valve and is divided into two paths. the hot air path, and the cooling cycle path. The hot and cold air mix valves control the amount of airflow through each path. In the cooling cycle, air flows through the primary heat exchanger, where the bleed air is cooled. The air then passes through the cold air mix valve to the air cycle machine, which compresses the air. This increases its temperature. The hot air from the air cycle machine flows through the secondary heat exchanger, where it is again cooled. This cool air is expanded in the air cycle machine, where additional cooling takes place. The result is very cold air flowing to the mixing chamber, where it is combined with air from the hot air path to produce conditioned air. Ram air aids the packs in the cooling cycle. The amount of ram air is controlled by air inlet doors. The ram air passes around the primary and secondary heat exchangers and then is exhausted overboard. Ram door full open lights illuminate when the ram air doors are in their full open position. The doors will be driven full open when the airplane is on the ground or when the flaps are extended in flight. At all other times, the doors modulate to maintain the required cooling. Each pack temperature is controlled by the air mix valves. They regulate the amount of air through the cooling cycle. The position of each set of air mix valves is displayed on their indicator. There are 2 temperature selectors and 2 automatic temperature controllers, one for each pack. The controllers maintain the selected temperature in the control and passenger cabins when operating in the auto range. Each controller compares the temperature in its compartment to the selected temperature. The controllers will signal the air mix valves to maintain the selected temperature. Moving the temperature selector to the lower segment establishes manual temperature control. In manual, the selector is spring-loaded to the center off position. To change the temperature, rotate and hold the selector to either warm or cool. The movement of the mix valves is monitored on the air mix valve position indicator. Releasing the selector to the center detent stops the valve movement. Recall the left pack provides conditioned air to the cockpit and the mix manifold. The right pack provides conditioned air to the mix manifold. From the mix manifold, conditioned air is distributed throughout the passenger cabin from the overhead duct. The air recirculation system reduces the air conditioning pack load and the engine bleed air demand. This air is collected in a shroud located above the forward cargo compartment, filtered, and recirculated back into the mix manifold. The recirculation fan is controlled by the recirculation fan switch. The fan will operate when the pack switches are in auto. When either pack switch is positioned to high, the recirculation fan will not operate. If an over-temperature is sensed in an air conditioning pack, an automatic pack shutdown occurs. The signal causes the pack trip-off light to illuminate and the pack valve to close. The air conditioning annunciator and master caution lights illuminate. The air temperature selector controls the source of the temperature displayed on the indicator. With supply duct selected, the indicator displays the temperature of the air flowing out of the mix manifold. With the selector positioned to passenger cabin, the temperature of the air in the cabin is displayed on the temperature indicator. The duct overheat light illuminates when the duct temperature becomes excessive. The air mix valve drives to the full cold position. The air conditioning annunciator and master caution lights also illuminate. Let's now discuss equipment cooling. Cooling air for the EADIs, EHSIs, and IRUs is provided by the normal supply fan. The alternate supply fan provides a backup source for cooling air. A constant exchange of air through the electrical and electronic compartment Instrument panels and right circuit breaker panel is provided by the normal or alternate exhaust fan. On the ground or with low cabin differential pressure, the exhaust fan air goes overboard. At greater cabin differential pressure in flight, the flow control valve directs the exhaust air to the forward cargo compartment. Loss of airflow causes the respective equipment cooling off light to illuminate. The overhead annunciator and master caution lights also illuminate. Selecting the alternate exhaust fan should restore the airflow and extinguish the off light. The equipment cooling supply fans operate in a similar manner. Answer C is correct. The right pack is the primary source of conditioned air for the passenger cabin. The automatic temperature controller compares cabin temperature and selected temperature. It signals the air mix valves to achieve the selected temperature. Normal operation of the air conditioning system. Before start, the APU is the normal source of bleed air for ground operations. Position one pack to auto and verify equipment cooling switches are normal. Set all other switch positions as desired. Prior to engine start, the pack is positioned off. All bleed air is now available for engine start. After engine start, position both pack switches to auto and the APU bleed switch to off. The switches remain in these positions until shut down. During secure, position both pack switches off. The panel is now configured for a subsequent engine start. This completes the discussion of the air conditioning system.